Coming up on OU Nightly, we have severe weather returning to the area, continuing throughout the week. I'll tell you everything you need to know coming up.
The Oklahoma legislator's special session is tomorrow. We have what to expect. And Texas Hate Week is here. See how students are celebrating. This is OU Nightly.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Snowforth.
And I'm Spencer Plato. We begin tonight with a look at changes in the weather.
OU Nightly meteorologist Dylan Strelko is tracking the storms. Dylan?
That's absolutely right. Right now we have a severe weather risk for tonight. That's a marginal risk for the Panhandle, and really we're going to be watching for damaging winds, large hail, and frequent lightning. No tornado potential tonight. This again is going to really stay off to our west. Now for us here in Norman, we're going to be pretty clear tonight. So 69 is that low, like that says, clear and calm. But then coming up with the cold front this week, we have rain chances increasing, the chance for flooding potential, and fall temperatures finally coming in.
Thanks, Dylan. And a big day for the Oklahoma legislator tomorrow as lawmakers come back to the Capitol for a special session. OU Nightly's Noah Mack is live at the state Capitol to break down what lawmakers will be discussing. Noah?
That's right. Governor Stitt called this session into happening, and it's going to be here at the Capitol. And he laid out three main points that he'd like to visit during this special session. And a lot of lawmakers are saying a lot might not get done.
Governor Kevin Stitt outlined three topics he wants to look at during this week's special session. First, a trigger law that would exempt all Oklahomans from paying state income tax if the state Supreme Court rules that tribal members aren't required to pay the same tax. Second, he wants a tax cut that will bring Oklahoma to zero income taxes. And lastly, a provision to increase budget transparency. I spoke with Representative Jared Deck from Norman this morning, who says Governor Stitt's exact plan of action is unclear.
I'm not sure that we're going to see a lot of productivity come out of this week's session.
Deck also says there has been a lack of communication between the governor and state pro tem Greg Treat. Treat echoed these concerns in an interview with our partners at News 9.
I really want to know before we walk in, what is our plan?
Treat also invited Governor Stitt to come to the state capitol to kick off tomorrow's special session.
I've said, Governor, please come explain. Maybe you have a plan that I just don't understand. He has not reached out yet and let me know if he's coming.
Norman's other representative, Jacob Rosecrans, says even if the governor comes to the Capitol, he doesn't think any legislation will make it through both chambers.
When you're in the dark, when it comes to cutting taxes or really messing with the revenue in any way, shape, or form, it means there's not going to be a whole lot of support. It's gotten to the point now where it's kind of like, do you have the support to pass what you're calling for, Governor? And if not, why are you doing this?
So there's still no real sense if the governor will be here at the Capitol, but it'll all come to fruition tomorrow when they gavel in the morning. Reporting live from the state Capitol, Noah Mack, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Noah. Crisis averted in Congress as a last-minute bipartisan deal keeps the federal government funded for the next 45 days. CNN Rob's Kirkpatrick has the latest.
On this vote, the yeas are 88, the nays are 9. Under the previous order requiring 60 votes for the passage of this bill, the bill is passed.
And with that, Congress avoided a government shutdown. After months of working on a deal, the Senate approved the measure after the House abruptly reversed course earlier in the day and passed a bipartisan bill.
Last night, Congress passed a spending bill that's going to keep the government open. And it's good news for the American people because the government will not shut down and a needless crisis will have been averted.
The stopgap measure will fund the government for 45 days as both sides work on a permanent deal. The bill includes natural disaster aid, but not additional funding for Ukraine, which was a sticking point for some lawmakers.
Putin is celebrating. We got 45 days to fix it. I don't see how the dynamics change in 45 days.
The bipartisan deal could also cost Kevin McCarthy his job as Speaker of the House, with some GOP members calling for his ouster as infighting over funding the bill escalated within his own party.
I think he is in trouble. Part of that is because there has to be some level of strong leadership in our chamber.
I do intend to file a motion to vacate against Speaker McCarthy this week. I think we need to rip off the Band-Aid. I think we need to move on with new leadership that can be trustworthy.
But the California Republican fired back at those threats and said, bring it on.
This is personal with Matt. He's more interested in securing TV interviews than doing something. He wanted to push us into a shutdown only because he wants to take this motion. So be it. Bring it on. Let's get over with it and let's start governing.
I'm Rob Kirkpatrick reporting.
While the agreement may be temporary, federal employees and those dependent on affected programs can be relieved. A shutdown is no longer imminent.
And while the American government avoids a government shutdown, other countries are affected by the lack of long-term solution. OU Nightly's Abby Williams has that and the rest of today's international headlines from the News Center.
The stopgap bill includes natural disaster aid, but funding for border security and funding for Ukraine is absent. According to CNN, President Joe Biden is encouraging Republican lawmakers to keep their word on providing aid to Ukraine. The U.S. government bought themselves 45 more days to come up with a long-term plan for government funding. Former President Donald Trump is in a New York courtroom today, where he finds himself at the center of a civil fraud trial. Trump, his eldest sons, their companies, and Trump Organization executives face claims of falsifying business records and issuing false financial statements. The trial will determine the damages owed. According to CNN, it could result in the end of Trump's business career in New York. This Wednesday, contracts for 75,000 healthcare workers will expire. If a labor deal is not reached between the unionized workers and Kaiser Permanente, the employer, it would result in the largest healthcare strike in U.S. history. Patients expecting to receive healthcare within the next week will likely feel the effects of the strike. Unlawful border crossings last month reached a new high for the year. U.S. Border Patrol has arrested over 200,000 migrants crossing the border from Mexico to the U.S. this year. Spencer, Snow.
Thanks, Abby. It's officially Texas Hate Week, and students are ready for the many traditions on campus. OU Nightly reporter Emily Faith is live near campus with details on the kickoff event tonight.
I'm here at the Wesley, which is right across from the South Oval. Starting tonight at 7 p.m., the Wesley will host their annual Bevo Bash to kick off OU Texas Week festivities. Now, the biggest event tonight is going to be the opportunity to smash this car right behind me, which, as you can see, is decked out and painted in Texas colors. This is a fun and exciting event, but it's also a fundraising and awareness event for the OU Food Pantry. Earlier today, I got a chance to talk with Allie Powers, the Wesley's student ministry assistant, about the impact of this event and how you could have a chance to drop a hammer on this hood.
The main event is that we will be smashing a car. We painted it last night and it's bright orange and it has like the upside down Longhorn symbol and it says like go OU and whatnot. And then we're going to be smashing it at 7. For people to be able to smash the car, they need to donate an item for the OU Food Pantry. So either clothes, home items, food, or money.
Beyond just smashing this car, there will also be a food truck at this event, and the first 100 people to arrive will get free food. Reporting live from the Wesley, Emily Faith, OU Nightly. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, that car's not going to look like that for long. Thanks, Emily. Coming up on OU Nightly, a breakdown in money matters on the state's special session.
OU Nightly's Kaylee Carnine has more on the possible cuts to the state income taxes.
Plus, more on the case that sits in the Supreme Court.
How the governor wants to step in, next. Governor Kevin Stitt calling on lawmakers tomorrow to start making tax cuts. OU Nightly's Kaylee Carnine joins us in Money Matters with how this affects Oklahomans' wallets.
The governor says his call remains the same. He wants Oklahomans to pay 0 state income taxes.
That's why I'm calling on our state legislature to cut taxes and let Oklahomans keep more of their hard-earned money.
Currently, 9 states, including Texas, do not have a state income tax. Texas, though, sees higher state property taxes. Senate Pro Tem Greg Treat says a law like this would eliminate around $4 billion in revenue for the state. The governor is also calling for a trigger law. Currently in the state Supreme Court sits a case. This case would decide if Oklahomans living on tribal reservations are required to pay state taxes. To counteract the court's decision, Governor Stitt wants a law in place that would not require any Oklahomans to pay state taxes. Finally, the governor is calling on a measure that would increase budget transparency. For Oklahomans, it would give them the ability and opportunity to see how their tax dollars are being spent. And if you have a federal student loan, today federal student loan repayments are starting after a 3-year pandemic-era grace period. Most with student loans have already received billing statements. If you have any questions, contact your loan provider.
Thanks, Kaylee. And coming up on OU Nightly, students, you'll want to stick around to find out how to earn some scholarships.
We'll tell you how to apply.
And we have severe weather coming up this week and throughout the rest of the week, so we're going to be talking about that and when and where these storms will hit. Well, welcome back to OU Nightly. We're looking at the campus cam right now. It's a pretty beautiful day out there. Not a lot of clouds, but it still feels like summer. 88 degrees is that current temperature right now. And then tonight, or right now across the state, where you have temperatures in the mid 80s, reaching 90 up there in Enid. But out there in Guyman, you're hitting almost the 70s, which is kind of getting a sneak peek of what we could see for the rest of the week. Right now we have a severe weather risk that is for tonight. That's really going to be just for the panhandle out west of our area. So here in Norman, we don't really have to worry about any severe weather tonight. You're going to be watching for some damaging winds and large hail and maybe some frequent lightning as well, but no tornado potential for these storms tonight. So let's time this out for you. These storms are firing up now out west. They're going to continue to expand in coverage, definitely out there in the panhandle, hitting Guyman by 11 p.m. and then moving out of here for your Tuesday morning. Now let's take a look at your highs. Tuesday, 88 degrees here in Norman, reaching 90 down there in Lawton, 89 over there in Ardmore, up here in Tulsa, 86 degrees for your high tomorrow. Now here is your allergy report. We have come down from the very high to just the high now. We are still at weeds and mold, really still in that high position, but when that cold front brings rain to the area, we're really going to see those go down. So here is a severe weather risk for tomorrow. The storms are really going to be shifting off to the east as we go throughout the rest of the week. As you could see, slight risk down there across the western portion of the state, and then a marginal risk down here across the southwestern portions of the state for Wednesday. Now, we do also have a flooding potential as well. Slight risk, that's a 2 out of 4 risk for flooding right now. So this really does include all of central and eastern Oklahoma tonight. Now here's your futurecast. We're timing this out for you. Showers are really going to expand in coverage by 3 p.m. Tuesday, and then by Wednesday we're going to see more storms by the evening hours, 5 p.m. These will be out of here. That's where we're watching for severe storms and lots of rain across the area, hitting 1 to 2 inches of rain as we go throughout the week. But here is your 7-day forecast. We're seeing 80s to start the week, and then we're getting down into the 70s as that cold front comes in on Wednesday night. It's going to be dropping those temperatures down into the 70s by Thursday. Rain chances will decrease Thursday, and we have a beautiful weekend up ahead for us.
I'm definitely looking forward to sweater weather.
Oh yeah, and I love whenever campus is just so beautiful in the fall.
Absolutely.
And if you are on campus, if you're looking for scholarship money, the OU Centralized Academic Scholarship Hub application is now open for all current and continuing students to apply. According to OU, this application is the main place for students to earn university awards. You have to fill out the application every year to be considered for any scholarships.
I think one thing we see that's unfortunate is students that may have qualified for something had they applied and they reach out to us after the fact. So I think that's our biggest thing is we want to help serve students. That's what we're here for. So we want to make sure all students have the opportunity to get an award.
The online application is on the OU Student Financial Center's website and closes on February 1st. And OU student soccer look another conference foe on Sunday.
And former Sooner quarterbacks showed out in the NFL. OU Nightly's Britton Ross has more in sports.
Thanks, ladies. Oklahoma football had their first home conference game of the season Saturday night. And our OU Nightly sports team was there, and we have a full report and more next in sports. Hello, I'm Britton Ross, and it's time for sports. Oklahoma football shined under the lights in their first conference home game Saturday night. OU Nightly's Addison Arthur has a full report.
The Sooners started off hot on Saturday against the Iowa State Cyclones. Billy Bowman got his team going with his 6th interception for his career, but he didn't stop there. He returned it into the end zone. Not long after that, QB1 Dylan Gabriel got involved and made his way into the end zone to put the Sooners ahead. It was 40-20 at half. And then here we have Gentry Williams, and this defense came out strong in the second half and did not allow the Cyclones any points. The Sooners scored half 100 on the Iowa State Cyclones to win the game 50-20. This makes them 5-0 on the season. But in the minds of players and coaches, they're still far from perfect, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done.
As I said earlier this week, we still have a long way to go, but there's been incremental improvement, and I'd be a fool not to recognize that.
We keep going hard the way we are. I feel like everything that God has in store for us is going to come to us, man, because we got a great team, bro. I feel like we got a great team, a great coaching staff. We got great leaders on the team, you feel me?
And the Sooners have another big week coming up as they travel to Dallas to take on the Texas Longhorns. Reporting from Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, Addison Arthur, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Addison. The 119th all-time meeting between OU and Texas will kick off at the historic Cotton Bowl Stadium Saturday at 11 a.m. OU quarterback Dylan Gabriel was sidelined due to injury in last year's 49-0 blowout loss, but he's fired up for the atmosphere on Saturday.
I think it's an atmosphere and environment you live for and you dream of. When you're a little kid, you don't necessarily dream of playing in the backyard, but you're picturing a huge crowd and that atmosphere, the passion.
Moving over to the pros, Sooner legend and current Tampa Bay Buccaneer Baker Mayfield threw for 246 yards and 3 TDs in Tampa Bay's 26-9 win over the New Orleans Saints. And Philadelphia Eagles QB Jalen Hurts totaled over 300 yards and 2 TDs in their 34-31 win over the Washington Commanders. Oklahoma soccer took the pitch versus new conference opponent Central Florida on Sunday. The Sooners lost the match 2-1, their first conference loss of the season. And the OKC Dodgers lost in the AAA National Championship game 7-6 Saturday night. Ladies, back to you.
Thanks, Britton. Coming up, are you able to recognize who these skeletons are dressed up as? We'll tell you all about the viral Halloween display.
And we'll take another look at those cooler temperatures rolling in this week.
I'm Chewy Dominguez at the OU Nightly Update Desk. State Superintendent Ryan Walters just declared this week as Teach Kids to Read Week. He is partnering with Moms for Liberty, and they are using a program called Back to Basics. Teachers who complete the program can get a bonus, plus will be paid to tutor students who are identified as at-risk readers. Snow, Spencer.
Thanks, Chewy. Check this out. A Halloween display in Pennsylvania is recognizable to those who call themselves Swifties. This skeleton is named Scalar Swift after the pop star Taylor Swift.
Scalar Swift is wearing a blue dress for the color of her newly re-recorded 1989 album and has on a blonde wig. Scalar is not alone, though. The owner created another skeleton modeled as her rumored boyfriend, Travis Kelce.
Sorry, I'm not a Swiftie, so that's almost as spooky as the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, and since it is almost October, Dylan, when can we expect those fall temperatures?
Well, we're really going to be watching that cold front that's going to come in later this week. Right now, we're looking, it is, if you may have heard, beat Texas week, so lots of Boomer Sooners are going to be out there beating up this car with a truck, so we thought might as well give you a forecast for it. So let's time this out for you. 6 p.m. you got 87 degrees. By 7 p.m. when this starts, it's going to be about 84 degrees. We're going to be cooling down, and by 9 p.m. you're going to be about 78 degrees. So it's going to be a pretty perfect night for that. And then here is your 7-day forecast showing those 80s for the beginning of this week when that cold front comes in Wednesday night. Going to drop those temperatures down into the 70s and a beautiful weekend up ahead.
Thanks, Dylan. Thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Spencer Plato.
And I'm Snow Forth. Be sure to watch OU Nightly live weekdays at 4:30. Good night.